Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the November 23rd edition of the Monday Morning Moos. I am your host, the Cal Sultant, coming to you live from my office in Greeley, Colorado. This is the show where you get your information and inspiration in the amount of time that it takes to milk a cow. So let's get started, shall we? This is Class 3 November milk closed the week at $23.15. Milk prices rebounded on Friday after a rough week in the markets. December milk is down quite a bit from November, but Class 3 milk prices traded 40 cents higher on Friday and reached back up to $16 per hundredweight. 2021 results had January up around 40 cents, February 22 cents higher, and the remaining months of 2021 were 2 to 12 cents stronger. Cheese prices remain extremely volatile with uncertainty in the market with regards to possible reduction in dairy products' role in the government food box program. This could be extremely hard to understand since there's no cheaper source of protein on the planet than milk and cheese. We should do a study on that, but there's probably more protein per dollar from milk and cheese than any other food source. Prove me wrong. So this shows the volatility of cheese over the last year. It's a roller coaster ride, and much of the demand is based on restaurants are closed, but the government food boxes are putting cheese in them now. We hope that doesn't change. When it comes to butter, we are selling a record amount of butter, but the price is at all-time lows. So, as detailed in this article from Taylor Leach at Dairy Herd Management, some 372 million pounds of butter were in cold storage at the end of August, and inventory levels depend on the demand for the ingredient during the less than typical holiday season. That is according to Rabobank, quoted in Taylor's article. Another factor pushing butter sales higher is its clean label. With a minimal list of ingredients compared to margarine and other butter substitutes, butter is moving up the rank in the eyes of the consumer. It has benefited from clean label trends as well as diets like keto, which require high fat intake. Butter has also gained ground as shoppers avoid processed alternatives like margarine. Yuck. According to an article in Food Drive. While butter's fate still remains uncertain this holiday season, it looks like there will be smaller than normal get-togethers. There is no doubt 2020 will still go down as a banner year for butter. Moving on to the grain side of things, amid strong demand, dwindling U.S. supplies, and dry South American weather, corn hit its highest mark since July of 2019. Wheat was mixed, and soybeans is through the roof at its highest price since 2016 and up 12% this month alone. Soybeans continue to climb as China continues to purchase them from us. Hay prices, courtesy of ProgressiveForage.com, looks like they were mostly up across the board on alfalfa. This is in their article this month on page 12 called the Export Forage Update. Despite challenges, 2020 has been strong in terms of export hay sales. In 2020 still continues to outpace 2019, and we have Japan taking the most of our exports with 36% of our hay exports, closely followed by China and Korea. So we're shipping a lot of hay to that part of the world. So I would just like to mention this great article that was in Progressive Forage, and these folks have just continued to provide great content weekly. I had all three magazines show up here at my house this week, and I'm always amazed at how good the articles are and how well they are able to keep bringing good stuff to read. For example, this author, Eric Young, wrote in Progressive Dairyman, and I feel like he got right to the point. 67 cents an acre. I flipped right to this article. I think it was on the cover of my edition. I flipped right to this article. I want to know what costs 67 cents an acre. And he gets straight to the point and says it's for soil sampling. And obviously, you can't afford not to soil sample, especially when when he breaks it down in such a great, compelling way. So, great article by Mr. Eric Young there. Now I want to talk about Rock River Labs, Dustin Sawyer. Rock River always enjoy reading their ads, reading their articles. They write a lot in Progressive. They're always very informative. And Dustin Sawyer here from Rock River Labs, he writes a great article about hemp. And the article is entitled, "What is Next for Hemp?" Well, I've been very curious about this for quite a while because hemp is obviously a good feed ingredient for cattle. It's very high in protein and fiber. So Dustin does an excellent job here of explaining how the regulations on hemp have changed in the United States and how they will continue to change. And he explained that currently we are not allowed to feed it to the cows, but very soon some of the regulations should catch up, and it will likely be a very predominant ingredient in feed diets in future years. So keep an eye on hemp and read Dustin's article at Progressive Forage or progressiveforage.com. It's a great article. Good job, Dustin. This is a little bit of an older story, but I thought worth mentioning. This is out of the Milk Break from Dairy Star. It's a newsletter you get in your email. Curdy Made Dairy in Corcoran, California, is having to defend themselves against their own city of Corcoran, California. Now, Corcoran's famous, by the way, for the Corcoran prison that sits there right outside of town where Charlie Manson happened to live until he died a couple years ago in 2017. It's also a very small remote city. It's very heavily farmed all around. So I'm just curious how they point the finger at Curdy. The water is really just not that good in Corcoran, California anyway. I think if I remember correctly, it smells like sulfur when it comes out of the ground anyway. So not sure how that is Curdy Made Dairy's fault, but thank you to the Tulare County Farm Bureau, and keep up the good fight out there against your city, the city of Corcoran. In another example of public policy decisions that could possibly hurt and not help farms and not help workers, the Washington State Supreme Court has ruled agriculture workers are now entitled to overtime pay. Now, here's a newsflash for you people. When you work in a factory, about 40 hours a week is all you can work because it's a repetitive motion. It is just not a job that is conducive to working more than 40 hours a week very often. But farmers and their workers very, very commonly, I mean, almost every farmer I know, I guarantee you he works at least 40 hours or more than 40 hours a week, probably more than 60 hours a week. It's not uncommon on a farm to work a 12-hour day, and it's possible because you're outside a lot, you're doing different things. It's not such a repetitive job as working in a steel mill or a factory. And the problem is for these workers is you just made a decision, and it doesn't help all of them because a lot of these workers were getting 12 hours a day and working 60 hours a week and being able to take home a really nice paycheck where they could afford to pay their rent and feed their kids and maybe pay for some of the extras. Now, this DeRuyter Brothers Dairy is going to be forced to hire more workers, give everybody less hours, and there's always a different side to the story, right? So I imagine that the dairyman is not happy with this, and neither are most of the workers at his farm. Probably just a few troublemakers and union people that came gunning for him. So, moving on. These European experts, this is a great article from M2 magazine, have launched a new guideline, first ever, for successful dry periods in dairy cows. Now, the title of this article says European experts, but I happen to know a couple of these guys personally, and that is Dr. Mario Lopez, who is a Colombian that lives in Kansas City, Missouri, and Dr. Leo Timms up here. That is, I don't know where he's from originally, but the entire time I've known him, he has been American and lives in Iowa. He's a good friend of the show, and I'm not surprised to see these two gentlemen standing up here. They are both amazing experts in milk quality. Know them very well. Dr. Timms has been on the show before and talked to us about winter teat health management and how to keep the teats in good shape going into the winter. And Dr. Mario Lopez here, he works for De La Valle. He is also heavily involved in National Mastitis Council. I believe he was the chairman at one time. And he also is responsible for taking this picture of the cow sultant on top of the Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan, Mexico. I was not planning to go to this hike to the top of the Pyramid of the Sun this day, as you can tell based on the attire that I'm wearing. But Mario made me. We got detoured. We decided to stop at these beautiful pyramids, and then he made me hike to the top, and I'm glad I did because I met the UFC heavyweight champion of the world, Mr. Cain Velasquez, at the top. And right here in this picture, I say, "Hey, Cain, do you mind if I put you in a headlock for the picture?" And he said, "Sure, you can try if you like." I passed, obviously, so thought about it for a second and said, "No, thank you." Anyway, congratulations to these gentlemen for launching these new guidelines. They're much needed in the market. Finally, moving on to our inspirational moment of the day. As I said already, Progressive Publishing really brings the good content. I was thrilled to pick up the magazine this week when I walked in the door and saw it sitting on the counter, highlighting Jamie Pagel Wick-Palick, who lost her husband and father on the same day to a plane crash. They are a very well-known dairy in the industry. Her father, John Pagel, he was a really good man, and a lot of people really looked up to him in terms of how to run a dairy farm. And unfortunately, he was taken from us too soon, but his kids seem to be taking over the family farm, making it their own, which is what you've got to do. And what I really picked up from the story was their motto. I might have to steal this, but the motto of the business is live first. And that is live with family, integrity, respect, simplicity, and teamwork. So I really, really like that one. Simplicity and teamwork are really interesting because you cannot run a large farming operation that they're running without keeping it simple and having a good team around you. And so it's a great article. I highly encourage you to read it. It's in your newsstand issue of Progressive Dairy or at progressivedairy.com. Finally, as we start to wrap up the show here, I will point you to an article at openaccessgovernment.org. This is a company that Cal Sultans is very proud to represent. We are promoting this new acoustic pulse therapy for udder health, really. And they talk about it a lot in terms of mastitis, but really it's for healing the tissue after a mastitis event. It's really a great product. Got some great data behind it. We've been doing some field trials, been getting some excellent feedback from the farmers. So read this article, take a look at our Menta. It's coming. It's going to be a really good product to help with mastitis and help promote good udder health in general. Also, want to give a shout out to my friend Bill Lucas and the folks there at Rubber Gym. They have a really great alley mat that you can put in your alleys, in your feed lanes, in your holding pens. We were out visiting a lot of dairies in Colorado this week, their representative and myself. It was really good to get out there and see people and visit these farms. And yeah, we actually got a couple bids going out on this product. So farmers were very interested in it. Nice rubber mat with steel rods, very robust. So check out my friends at Rubber Gym. Next, Foxy. He's not helping us host the show anymore, but I still would like to make sure we give him a shout out. Encourage anybody that is looking for a solution for sand. These mats that Foxy has at foxworthysupply.com. They are fantastic in terms of keeping the cows from kicking all the sand out of the bed, and then it goes in the lagoon, and then you got to dig it out. The mats are incredibly robust, very comfortable for the cow. It's just a great product. If you're bedding with sand or planning to be bedding with sand, go to foxworthysupply.com. Check out some of their testimonials. Foxy will be glad to give you the phone number of some of the guys that are using the product, but it is a really great product. Make sure you check it out. foxworthysupply.com. Finally, Christmas is coming. Just a reminder, I can tell I have a typo here. Sorry about that. It is Carol's Original Work. Check it out up here, carolsoriginalworks.com. If you were trying to get a cow figure or something from Carol from her website, she wanted me to remind everybody they need to have their orders in by December 1st. So you have one more week, folks, to give Carol a call or go on her website and place your order. Make sure you get your stuff by Christmas. And as we wrap up today's show, I would just like to wrap it up with a quote. If your dreams don't scare you, they are too small. So everybody go out there, have a great week this week. Happy Thanksgiving. Be safe. Put some extra dinner on that butter roll. Put some extra butter on that dinner roll. And join us next week at 10 a.m. for the Monday Morning Moos. Goodbye.